Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. My name's Kix, joining me is Rapid. We just saw a great third game there between Dragon and Haji, but we're going to be heading into our fourth and final game here, which should be a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be super sick. Last game of the series, obviously still impressive that NaS were able to take the 3-0. This is the morality booster for, or the morale booster. Wow.
Morality, man.
It's like 7 a.m. over here, guys. Like, give me a break. The final game of the series is coming up.
Yep, final game. It's going to be between White Clan's IriS, which you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here. Is one of the newer players to appear in the STPL for White, has been doing a great job so far. Did go 1-0 last round, 1-0 so far in round 2. It's going to be a TVT though, that's IriS of course, and standing against him is the Peruvian powerhouse himself. It's going to be TerrOr. Now TerrOr did an insane job last round, went 6 for 1. His TVT is very, very good, nearly took down Shiny in a couple of Clash for Chars. I know that's a little bit nostalgic now, which is kind of crazy, but that was over a year ago. But here we are once again, back with some more STPL. They're going to be heading on to Plasma. Now, Plasma, a very funky map in general, but really, really cool for TVT. We saw a game between Incomplete and Koga on this map, where Incomplete unfortunately got a little bit clowned on by Koga, but we saw a little bit of an idea of what TVT can look like. 3-player map, of course, not that much gas actually around the map, so kind of reliant on a lot of A units early on, and stuff like that.
Yeah, TVT looks really interesting. Second time we're going to get a chance to see it, like you said. I want to see more Wraith play. I think it eventually transitioned into that, but I mean, the eggs make this essentially an island map. So, I mean, if you triple expand, realistically, it's hard to punish that. Or just go like, 12 or 14 CC. So it's not, it's really weird. I don't feel like I've ever seen a player really exploit this map because it is just so strange.
Yeah, I actually played I mean, I can probably go into this more as we get into the game. So let's start us off. It's White IriS versus NaS TerrOr. Now, NaS, of course, have won, but there's going to be a chance at redemption for White here. So let's head on over to the game, and let's get started with this TVT. And just to confirm, as I introduce him, it is going to be IriS in the top left-hand side. This is a different IriS to the one that used to play for CJ, so much like number 1 Flash on White as well. I think there's a lot of people in Korea who just pick like pro gamer IDs that they sort of grew up loving and things like that. So
yeah,
we do see similar things outside of Korea as well. Of course, we do have the player best for Red, and also the player last for Red as well. But I think they're both Korean, so kind of a little bit of a pattern there.
Yes, I concur. That is a pattern. Anyway, naming conventions aside, the real question mark is, can IriS take a game off of TerrOr? Obviously, we just got a chance to see the Canadian player Dragon take a big win here. IriS is, or not IriS, but TerrOr is coming up next. I mean, this is like really kind of the best part of the NaS lineup against the least experienced part of the White Clan lineup. So maybe a little bit of a mismatch when you think about it that way, but they're just so good. So really excited to watch this. See what the opening builds are. Of course, nothing really been revealed just yet. But a faster scout by TerrOr that may eventually wind up being actually slower.
Yeah, he scouted in the wrong direction. I mean, one benefit of doing this is he will find out his opponent's not in the bottom left. He could actually go for like maybe a hidden CC in this base, or he may be going for like a proxy Rax. We do see IriS going for a looks like it's going to be a 14 CC. Queued up a lot of SCVs here, so going to be going for that. TerrOr doing exactly the same thing. So mirror builds once again as we start us off on Plasma.
Indeed, it is. So let's go ahead and talk about the possibilities, Kicks. Oh, didn't you have some anecdote that you wanted to share?
Anecdote?
Yeah, you were getting into it and you said, let's get into the game.
Oh yeah, so I played a TBT on this map against Tai 2 for Rota's Weird Map League, and basically he killed me with mass rates, but I did nearly come back into it at one point. We both did open 14cc. That was where it kind of differed, where we could see a differ here as well. I went from more ground-based play, he immediately went into two-port wraith, so kind of cool to see this. Like, obviously, there's a lot of buildable terrain for turrets and whatnot, so that does make it a little bit harder to go mass Wraith, but it's hard to get the gas to really make that work. And obviously, Valkyrie's such a strong counter to Wraiths these days. Obviously, Valkyries have been around since the beginning of Brood War, but it's only really recently, in like the last 2 or 3 years, that we've really seen their use in TVT sort of skyrocket. I mean, it did start back in the days of Fantasy vs. Flash in about 2010, so it's not really a new realization. But with the sort of, I would say like going mass race was definitely more of a modern twist to TVT, just based on the map design. Obviously you had more maps like Circuit Breaker, which had unbuildable terrain in the middle, Neo Ground Zero, another big example of that as well. And it made it a lot harder to spam turrets everywhere, like is what you really need to do when you're going dropship play.
Yeah, or if you're just gonna go for a, like some sort of hard push through the middle, you can't do that. So yeah, it definitely makes a big deal, or a big difference there. So we do see naturals coming up for both players. I think the biggest question mark for me is when you take your third. Obviously, it's hard to take a third because for the most part they're mineral only, so you do have to kind of quest for another gas. That does kind of wind up being a very difficult part of this map, is that the gas is super limited.
Yeah, now one major move we'll see from both players is both of them, if they do want it to go a little bit later, if they don't want to go for a big all-in push or anything, they'll both be trying to take that other main. In a 3-player map, that's usually the most important base on the map to take, especially in TBT. Some of the greatest examples of my favorite TBTs ever, like Firebat Hero vs. Flash on Neo Moonglaive. We also saw an amazing one on Neo Medusa as well. Like, the third gas from the third main is so important. And on a map like Plasma, where there is 3 other small gas bases, but they're so hard to take when both of the mineral lines and the gas are siegeable from the low ground, from at least one of the mains, especially in these positions as well, makes it so difficult to take them. So this other main is going to be the most important base on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Other main, and then if you can hold one of those inner bases, that's pretty significant. But in a TVT, that's just really difficult. So in the last TVT that we saw on here, the ability to expand southbound down the map, hit this gas base in the middle, and then the base down at the bottom. That is actually very significant. So watch for that to be pretty impactful if that is a base that you can take, because the amount that it is different for the player that spawns on the right hand side is just so graphic. Northbound, instead of a base, you've got Ursidons.
Yeah.
Southbound, instead of a base, you've got Ursidons.
Yeah.
And a mineral only base. So this is just definitely a big advantage as far as spawn locations go for IriS. Maybe there are counterpoints for that, and you guys can share them with me on Twitter at RapidCasting or in the chat if you have any points. But just looking at this, it does seem better for IriS.
Yeah, now, one benefit we do see from TerrOr this time, unlike Incomplete, who doesn't have nearly as much TVT experience as TerrOr over here, we do have TerrOr immediately going in for an Academy and an Armory. That's going to give him the perfect counter to this 2-port Wraith coming up from IriS. And IriS is going to be a little bit off of getting Cloak as well. He's going to go into 4 Wraiths before going into that. He's actually going for an Engineering Bay himself. Now, you may think that's a little bit counterproductive, but many a TVT, especially in the pro scene, has actually been decided by one player going for 2-port Wraith against like a 1-port Wraith player. The 1-port Wraith player usually loses in that circumstance, but if the other player gets Cloak before you do, suddenly it's a horrible situation. But TerrOr, focusing a lot on these Goliaths early on, does use both of his scans as well to check out what's going on. Looks like IriS did scan the main as well, so he should know what his opponent's doing too. But TerrOr's even getting turrets. He just wants to be super safe right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like, I think we're actually going to see a lot similar gameplay, even though I would say that Terra is maybe a step above incomplete. The idea is that when you spawn on the left side versus right side instead of top versus bottom, the map is just split in such a different way. And for Terrans in TVTs, when you play the ground game, it's siege tanks that make up the difference. When you play the air game, it's raids. But regardless of what it is, if you go Goliath, you will never break through these egg walls. So it's just gonna give White or IriS rather a lot of time to work with.
You know, one thing you can kind of look at and why this map split is going to be funny as well. I mean, if you were to look at the top right-hand corner of the map and draw a line the entire way down to the bottom right, top right and bottom left, you can see that there's actually an extra gas base there for IriS. So, I mean, if you think about it, we'll have the natural, of course. If we do see it split, we'll see the other main taken. You'll be able to take this base as well, but that's only going to be 4 gases against the, I believe that's actually going to be, yeah, 5 gases. So it is an additional gas in the top left-hand spawn if he splits the map diagonally. So Terra's going to have to move out soon and try and do something. Now he is going to take down the eggs in the middle of the map. Going to be very important for him to do that. But looks like IriS is getting ready to try and put up a little bit of a contain and secure this top left base, or top right base even.
Yeah, he is moving out right now. This is Terra moving into him. He's got Goliath. They fire much more quickly, but of course they don't have the range of siege tanks. The siege tanks will go down here. This is Terra busting out.
Yeah, it's Terra busting out, but he needs to be careful. He took a lot of damage on his wraiths. There's still a lot of wraiths back here for IriS. I mean, it's 5 at the moment, but he's adding on Cloak. I believe he's already finished that up. He's continuing to add additional wraiths in here as well. Third factory coming in for IriS. Do we see a third factory? Yes, we do. It's actually going to be up to 4 factories now, adding on a 5th as well. So Terra is really starting to pump up his production. And the important move he's made here is he stopped that awkward map split. We do have that third base up, the third gas coming up for IriS, but we can see that Terra has gained control over the ramp onto this left-hand side.
Well, I mean, this is still an important position to talk about because of the economic advantage, but dropping these vultures over going to make a world of difference. This effectively shuts down really the only big advantage that IriS had, and with a push to this the edge of the wall over here, this is just a really big deal. Now, here's the Cloak. Cloak coming in on the raise. He's going to fire immediately, and he has just enough to one-shot Goliaths here. Oh my goodness, huge play right now. He's going to kill off every Goliath, every siege tank, and man, this game is swinging right back and forth.
Yeah, and Terra has been building nothing but vultures for a very long time. I think he had enough to just try and push through the middle, and you can see immediately IriS knows how important this position in the middle is. He's going to push forward with his tanks, and we're going to see at least the barracks is going to know this is coming in. But Terra's going to find himself getting locked a little bit further back. He's building turrets back here as well, because he knows he's got nothing to do with the wraiths. But this is his decision. He's going to move out with the vultures, going to lay a lot of mines in between the tanks and home, and he is going to be able to do a lot of damage to this SCV line.
Yeah, it feels rough to let speed vultures through. It's just so hard to catch. So he's going to have to send the raids back for it, but they're still cloaked. Obviously, you want to kind of uncloak your raids if you know you're just going to take them out of commission for a while. Yeah, wow. This is not great. Letting those vultures through gives perfect scouting information. It's going to be annoying mines everywhere. They're still going to kill SCVs, gas SCVs for that matter. Actually, he didn't kill any of the gas SCVs. He just put them to red health. Yeah, anyway, that's a nice little moment, but it doesn't change the fact that IriS has insanity air control.
Yeah, he does, and IriS has flown his CC into that base that he's just about retaking control over. Oh my god, this is actually very dangerous. Sending a dropship in with some SCVs. Gonna be trying to get those SCV bombs down, but great target firing by IriS. Gonna save himself from all that additional splash, and the wraiths are coming in. There's not that many Goliaths here. The tanks trying to focus fire them down, but Terra's got enough. He's broken back through, and he's gonna take control over this position in the middle of the map, and there's a Valkyrie here as well.
Yeah, broken back, of course, the correct grammatically way to spell that one movie that Heath Ledger was in, but the The Goliath Remax, or not Remax, but like the remake, really caught IriS off guard. Rays are not good units air to ground, like in almost any number. They just suck. And so now it's a big win for TerrOr. He busts out. He takes away the air advantage, kills off so many of the Rays.
And he's killed a load of SCVs as well.
Yeah, he's killed the SCVs on the southern base with a drop and on the northern base there with a push. So all of a sudden, IriS just implodes.
Yeah, but IriS is playing very much like a refugee Protoss style. He's immediately adding another command center in the bottom left. He knows that that is a location that TerrOr is not going to be attacking. The Vultures not there to defend this, although it looks like he could actually be sending them back now. So good usage of his units by TerrOr. The CC in the top right's been pushed back. He's going to go hang out with the Ursidons in the zoo up there, but more and more damage coming in from TerrOr.
Yeah, TerrOr, man, crushing it. This is not a good day for White Clan. They are really starting to struggle now. Building, or I think maybe just these are the last of his Rays down here, trying to get anything done. I think IriS is about to maybe tap out even.
Yeah, there's not really too much he can do. I mean, he's got a decent tank count in the middle. One thing that TerrOr has been neglecting is his tank count. He spent a lot of money on his Goliaths, and I mean, it still could swing the other way. Yes, all the rates have gone down, but what are you going to do with a few tanks against a lot of tanks? I mean, I know you like to use the it's Terry Pratchett, isn't it? The version of Trolls counting. I mean, I know you like to use that analogy quite a lot, but it's going to be like 3 tanks against a lot more from IriS, and IriS is going to be able to re-secure this position in the middle.
Man, this is really good. Yeah, I definitely called it a little bit too early there. I thought that TerrOr was going to be more aggressive, but you're right, the low tank count. I mean, tanks are sort of the litmus test in TVT. It's like, if you have more tanks than your opponent, you're probably going to be doing pretty well. So here we actually see quite a bit of SCVs joining this fight. He's going to run the SCVs in, tank the first tank shots, and that will allow these high DPS Goliaths to get in range and start to whittle down these early first few tanks. And so the SCVs do their job. He sacks the tanks. The Goliaths are sieging forward. The siege tanks are actually a little bit too far back. So that was a big mistake there by TerrOr. But he does do a good job to reclaim a little bit of that surface area.
Yeah, now he has actually evened up the supply a little bit by doing that. TerrOr has. I mean, IriS was down a lot in supply before, but that was a really, really good engagement by him. A perfect tank line at the back, and I mean, he does have the option of going into dropships. So one thing I'd like to point out from TerrOr is he's actually added mines next to the starport so he can see when something's happening on them. Now, I don't know, I can only assume this was intentional, because this gives him perfect vision on whether or not his opponent's building any raids anymore. But he's actually going to be against dropships now. And I mean, we've seen a lot of Goliaths go down, but this is the problem with these bases. The right-hand side spawn actually has a little bit of an advantage here, as he is sieging down the SCVs.
I mean, he didn't actually get very many shots off because of the high ground, so
yeah.
I mean, he'll scan again, but he doesn't have anything floating in the air to defend here. And he needs to get that up there because the siege is coming through the high ground. Oh my god, this is huge for IriS.
Wow. That was actually an incredible tank shot there, picking off one of those tanks immediately. Great repair coming in.
Don't go for the siege position without a high ground vision. Like, the SCVs could actually just mine perfectly fine there, because your tanks can't hit them.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like TerrOr still holding on to his position in the middle of the map. Mines going to be blocking that, but it looks like TerrOr did find the command center in the bottom left. He is able to take that down. That's floating up to the top left now, so TerrOr still in a little bit of a pickle. They're actually on even bases now, both on even gas, so nothing too crazy. Looks like we do have a lot more mining, though, going down on minerals from IriS. TerrOr's SCV count actually not that big. He did use a lot of them on that push, but TerrOr slowly building his dropship count up as well. But we see the same thing over on IriS' side still, so still a relatively even game.
Jabal dropships just now heading out, so those are of course going to be big deal. But the problem is that they were scouted out by those 2 mines by the starports, so TerrOr should know what's coming his way.
Yeah, TerrOr should see that. Now we're actually going to see mines on top of these tanks, so you need to be a little bit careful if he wants to drop on those. A little bit of a double-edged sword. No scan. Oh, he actually did scan it, so he does know about the mines. So that's going to be pretty good. But is he going to abuse it? He needs to make sure not to... Oh, I don't think he knew about the mines. Oh, that's a lot of damage to be taken. He does manage to take down the expansion, though. He really does need to take this position here at the top of the expansion, though. We do see dropships coming into the natural expansion of Terra now, using that high ground position to great advantage. Going to be able to siege down the second gas for Terra.
Man, what is going on? This is such a back and forth game. Seems like IriS is in a better spot though, but here comes Terra trying to drop on top of IriS's tanks. I don't think that's going to be successful at all. Yeah, Terra just throwing it all away.
Yeah, Terra is such a supply deficit now. It looks like IriS has done it. He bided his time. He got the dropship count, and GG! IriS,
Wow.
after a very long TBT, well, I say very long, it was 17 minutes, but it feels like we've been here for an hour. There was so much back and forth action, but IriS with the great positioning on that top right base meant Terra couldn't really put any pressure on anymore. And, I mean, that worked out really well. So, really, really good job.
Yeah, it's super convincing there at the end. Honestly, I just gotta say, most of the games today were back and forth. So even though you look at the scoreline and it says 3-0 with the moral victory there at the end, very good games today overall. Maybe one or two mismatches, but overall the games have been pretty sick, as long as they weren't played on Plasma.
Well, that Plasma TBT just then was amazing, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, how much of that is the game? How much of it is the map? Like, I don't know how to really analyze that.
There was a lot of positional play going down there that wouldn't have happened on any map but Plasma. I mean, that push in at the end by IriS was amazing. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of the series just quickly now. The overlay's bugged again somehow, so I really need to spend some time fixing all of this. But we actually saw a 3-1 victory for NaS. It wasn't actually 4-3, we didn't have 3 draws, but also I taken down Cast, Eon Zerg taken down Spy, Dragon taken down Haji, and IriS taken down Terra to finish it off there in that TBT. If you did miss any of those games, the VODs will be going up tomorrow. Probably going to be exporting those tonight to YouTube, so you can check those out there. Now, one final thing to just quickly say is our next set of games. On Monday, we're going to have Bull Team versus MSJ and Red versus DM. Wednesday, we're going to have Media versus Valhalla and Soul Gaming versus IRK. And then on Friday, we're going to have White Clan versus Ash and IRK versus DM, as on Friday we'll be heading in to week 3. So actually 4 days a week STPL now, but obviously 3-day casting. But I will have to say a huge thank you to you, Rapid, for once again staying up to an obscene hour to cast with me.
Yeah, thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Kicks. Good to come out and cast some good games. Hope everybody else out there enjoyed it. Yeah, and come back and watch more STPL. Follow the channel. Follow STPL TV on Twitter. And of course, Kix and I as well. You can see our Twitters down there below.
Yeah, so huge thank you to everyone who's watching, anyone who's donated, of course. The price will currently stand about $1,500. A huge thank you to, of course, all the players for getting their games played. And I hope you all have a continued interest in the continuing STPL. So for tonight, it's a goodbye from him.
And me. And you. And Kix's cat. I heard Lottie earlier, so I'm assuming that she's also saying goodbye.
Yeah, she's I think she's run off somewhere. But either way, have a good evening, everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.